Okay, good evening, everyone. I want to thank you all for being here today. It's hard to believe that this many years have passed and your student's going to graduate this year. How many are first-time parents to graduates? Okay, the anxiety, anticipation, everything, promise it will fall in place. For those that have gone through it already, it's one of those pieces that it's a new experience every time, but it's an exciting one. Your sons and daughters are moving into the next phase of their life, and you get to be a champion of that, be with them. There'll be tears shed, there's going to be a lot of heartache, and there's going to be a lot of celebration too. One of the things I can guarantee you is that I've got a daughter that's getting married we're nearly a month away, and I said, how old are you? 26, and I had it only, so everything was right on that child. It was really one of those experiences that I remember doing this meeting myself, being part of it, and having to walk through it, and the excitement and everything that goes with it was not let down. So when you talk to your student when you go home tonight, one of the biggest things that I think you can do is look at this as a celebration, and really, what's the next step? And tonight, our counselors from the counseling department are going to speak and help share some of those pieces that they've talked to you about at different meetings and different pieces of literature, and some of those opportunities for you to look at what is that next step and how do you get there, and what are they going to do to help you with it. Some of our goals for this evening that we want, and yeah, I was supposed to get 30 meters on this. Hey Lee, you want to hit me on that? Please, just hit me down real quick, the next one. So learning about what it takes to ensure that your senior's set for graduation. Over the summer, you received your graduation credit status form and all those pieces that you needed to. And part of the opportunity is really looking forward to, are you set? They're here, the counselors have looked through it, you've looked through it, so you know exactly what they need for graduation. For those students, as you progress through semester 1 and semester 2, just making sure you're staying connected. We push Parent View. Anybody here not use Parent View? It's an awesome opportunity, so you guys know. So just stay in tune to that. And remember, one of the biggest things we do with our teachers and with our parents is it's a living document, but we need to remember that it progresses sometimes at a slower pace than you might wish. We want to know how to locate college and career planning and post-high school resources. That's probably one of the biggest things that our students here get from our counselors is they're starting the senior visits this week and next week, and they're going to be talking to your sons and daughters about what's that next step. Our early college students, what are you doing in this next step? And what can you look forward to the future? Coming home with material, looking at different opportunities and options. Having been a guidance counselor before, it was one of the most exciting meetings next to that junior meeting with our students, talking about what are those careers you're looking at. So many of us here think, I didn't know what I was going to do in high school. I oftentimes think of those moments of maybe I should have gone into business, and then you have that one person that jumps in and shares, this is something you should have a passion for. Look at this career. And having options and looking at what are some of those opportunities that you can do as a parent, working with our counselors, working with your son or daughter, to really think, how can I dig deeper into those career fields? Many of them have ideas of what they want to go into. Challenge them to think beyond even what they might feel comfortable doing and things that you want them to do. We always want better for our students than ourselves, and oftentimes that means looking at higher education, +1 programs, anything that gets them employed after high school, doing something like. We all know that if you're happy at what you're doing, life's a lot better when you go home, and it's a lot more exciting for you in a career. So providing insight into those aspects of that senior year and helping your student get through it. The biggest thing is, we've got Johnston's coming up, you'll see all the timelines and the dates and all those opportunities, making sure that they're jumping in and doing everything. How many students are dual enrolled? How many of your students are dual enrolled, early college? Some of them are here, they have online, they might only have 3 face-to-face classes. It's different than when we were all in school. The brick and mortar is the 7 classes here a day is atypical. Most of our students are jumping in and doing multiple different courses throughout the year with different opportunities and different pieces that give them that chance to see what it's like to be in college, what it's like to try to dig a little deeper. So making sure that you're looking at what opportunities are there for them. One of the big pieces that we try to do is looking at what AHS is pushing for is that 21st century graduate. We want to make sure we're pushing that with all of our students, that it isn't just about a 4-year degree. It's not about a +1. It's about what's best for you and for your son or daughter. We have a great team down at the counseling center. Jesse Patterson, Jesse's back there right there. He's the principal in charge of the counselors and works to help with scheduling and everything else. Jess, if you kind of step forward here so everybody can meet you. Did a great job with the counseling team. These guys you're going to meet all of them tonight. Mrs. Miller couldn't make it this evening, so she's going to be the only one you're not going to get a chance to meet, but they've done a great job at trying to get your student schedules where they need to be and having those conversations. So I appreciate their team. Kelly Say is our new counseling secretary, and then Tracy Shoemaker is she is our registrar, so she helps with transcripts, GPAs, class rank. She's Jesse's right-hand person that steps in and makes sure that all those numbers are correct and all the pieces are getting done that need to get done. Our counseling staff is a wonderful group of ladies that I had the luxury of working with for about 10 years. Andrea is new to our ranks this year, so she's excited. She's had a great opportunity at learning over the summer and is excited to jump in and help your sons and daughters look at what those opportunities are beyond high school. So you're going to get to know them. Don't be afraid to email. Don't be afraid to call. They're accessible to you. Please utilize them. We want you to have that opportunity to meet your counselor, talk to them, and make sure your son or daughter are accessing those pieces. Next up. Lee, you want to click me? There we go. Lori Nugent. Many of you that are in early college know Lori. Lori is our early college advisor. Lee is running our show back there. He's doing our live recording for YouTube, so you can go back and look at this, and for parents that couldn't make it. But Lori had picked up the ranks last year with the early college, so many of you have already been in communication with her. She's working with your sons and daughters and will work through the 12th and 13th years, and is doing an excellent job with our students. So again, she's another great resource. Moving on, thanks Lee, is are they on track for graduation? And Lori's going to jump in right now, and she's going to pick this up. And then we're going to go through the counselors, and they're all going to have a piece that they want to share with you, so we're making sure that everything's going well.
Good evening, I'm Lori Vogt. I'm one of the counselors here. Congratulations on getting this far with your student. And this is a really exciting year, and we're happy to partner with you to make this a great year. One of the questions that always comes up is my student on track to graduate? Good news, if they weren't on track to graduate, you would have heard from us through a letter over the summer. So probably most of you, I just have a handful, on one hand, that are not on track to graduate, and some of them we know will be putting in an extra year. But those who need a plan to move forward this year and do extra things have already been talked to for the most part, or we will be talking to them. So most likely your student is on track to graduate. But if you have questions, feel free to talk to your counselor and to find out how many credits they have. They have to have 22 to graduate. Volunteer hours through the YBC are always an option. Some people even like to pad their transcript a little bit, even though they have the 22. They want to have some volunteer hours on there. So for 100 hours of volunteer work, which you may already be doing through your church or the soup kitchen or through the Boys and Girls Club, can be added to the transcript if you fill in the proper paperwork on the counseling website. Another thing you can do if you need additional credit is you can purchase a class, and you can talk to your student about that in our counseling meeting, which we'll be having very soon. So the big question this year is, what's next? And believe me, from the top valedictorian down to the student who struggled the most in school, this is a tough question for every student. But we're really excited to journey with your student and even to work with you. So if you would like to come to our parent meeting and our senior meeting with your student, I had a parent this week already that said she would like to come in and be a part of that discussion. You're always welcome to come in. Because who knows your student better than you do, really? And as you're talking to your student about these kinds of questions, it's always good to think of what are they passionate about? When they get excited about something at school or even just in their life in general, What are they excited about? And to try to pinpoint those areas that are really going to lead them towards a successful future and towards something where they can be independent and self-sufficient and all those good things. But just know that your counselor is there. The days where we were in school and we never saw the counselor unless you were one of the troubled kids are long gone, and we will be working with each student and getting them in. So encourage your student to make those appointments as soon as possible, and feel free to be a part of that conversation. Since you came out tonight, we know you're interested, we know you're very involved parents, and we're willing to talk to you about all those things, scholarships, colleges, everything. So we've changed our tact a little bit in the counseling center. There we go. We used to talk about college, college, college. Now we talk about +1. +1 can be a vocational school. It can be a military option. It can be a trade school, a 4-year school, whatever. Sometimes when we go to counseling meetings downstate, they talk about good fit for the student in an almost elitist kind of way. Whereas a student who has a 1300 SAT can't go to some college because it wouldn't be a good fit. We do not have that philosophy. I don't think any of us subscribe to that. We know that ACC can be a great fit for any student to save some money, gain some maturity, that kind of thing. But we also work with students who go to the University of Michigan, which internationally speaking is one of the, most highly regarded colleges or universities within the world. So we run the full gamut, and we're prepared to help your student get where they need to go, whatever a good fit might be for them. But know that we recognize realities within the family as well, financial realities, things like that. So we're working with students and families on scholarships, we're working with students and families on financial aid, and all those things that will help you find the best fit for your student. So we talked about that. Michigan, by the way, has some great universities. Some of our students also look at out-of-state schools. We are, of course, most familiar with the Michigan colleges, but we're getting more acquainted with the military academies and those kinds of things as time goes on, and also the trade schools. So any sort of +1 is an option for your student. Some students are better, looking at the military option, the college option, the trade school option. We'll work with your student to determine the best option. Once you determine the best option, the next big question is, how will I pay for this financially? How can I do this without having years and years of loans and slowing me down in terms of buying a house and just living life without the debt burden? So we'll work with your student also on that, and all those tough questions and choices that they have to consider as they look at financial options as well. Some students will have lots of options available because of their high SAT, perhaps their low family income combined. Others will have to look at some tough realities financially, but we'll help them be in a place where they can get all the resources necessary to get where they need to go or where they want to go, if possible. So we're going to help students coming up on a FAFSA night. And FAFSA night, I'm going the right way here. I don't know, it seems to be jumping around a little bit. There we go. So this is actually our rookie counselor is going to speak a little bit. And she's doing a great job with us, and we're really excited to have Andrea Linton with us. She's going to continue our discussion about the upcoming nights to help you with financial aid. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, yay. Up or down? Did you figure that out? Okay. Good evening. My name is Andrea Linton. As Mr. Bordage and Mrs. Vogt mentioned, I'm new here at the high school in the counseling role, so I'm super excited to work with your students. So the FAFSA, of course, is a free application for federal student aid, and we will be offering parent nights or labs to have you come in with your son or daughter and attend on October 13th and February 9th. I would really, really encourage you to please read Mr. Bordage's weekly that comes out on Sunday nights, and that will provide you with any pertinent information that might relate to these lab nights and what to bring along with the Chromebooks. Oh, let's see here. Oh, perfect. Okay, so we just recently have hired a new college advisor with Advise Michigan, and her name is Jenny Taratuda. I hope I said that correctly. She's going to be a great resource for your son or daughter. She will provide help with college applications, fee waivers, again, assistance with the FAFSA, which again, of course, we will assist with the labs coming up. She will be responsible for doing college visits, career exploration, as well as trade schools. The phone number is up there. She will be starting hopefully next week. Okay, so now is the time to start applying to colleges. College applications should be done probably around October 15th. And it's usually recommended that the kids apply to about 3 colleges on average, okay? Pick one that's considered the safe choice. But please make sure that your son or daughter is doing their homework as far as which colleges they want to go to, and does it offer the program that they're interested in. Most applications are available online, and there is usually a fee to apply. Also have your son or daughter check in with the counseling office for letter of recommendation. It's a form. The form is also available online on the APS website. Please make sure you give your references, especially if you're looking for a teacher or an employer for a letter of recommendation. Please make sure they get those to those people in a timely manner, so to give them time to complete. And I think that's it for me. Mrs. Doust.
So is it up or down? I think it was down.
Romeo's operating it.
Romeo's over there.
I'm the button.
That's even better.
Okay, good evening. I am Mary Doust. I am the counselor for last names F through L, and I'm also taking the slides that Mrs. Miller was supposed to be talking about tonight, but she's not feeling well, so she stayed home. Mrs. Miller has last names S through Z. Okay, and we are all available to talk to your students about whatever. So one of our first big events coming up very soon, on October 4th, is our annual College Night. College Night is one-stop shopping, so to speak. All of the colleges and universities in the state of Michigan are invited. They don't all come. Some of the smaller community colleges and stuff don't come. But generally, we have about 50 to 60 different representatives that come from different schools. Trade schools, colleges, universities, all branches of the military, so that your children can come and talk to representatives from multiple colleges in a matter of an hour and a half, and get some information from those colleges. It's a great experience. If you have children that are younger, they are welcome to come too. Okay? And you are welcome to come with them to talk to different schools about different programs. It's a great experience. Roman, next. Parchment. You hear us periodically talking about a Parchment account. Parchment is a company that is basically Michigan's transcript mailman, is what it amounts to. It's an electronic way to get transcripts from one place to another, usually free of charge. All Michigan colleges and universities participate in it free of charge. So on our school website, and I'll show you in a few minutes where it is on the website, but also you can go to www.parchment.com, have your children create an account, use a non-school email, because their school email disappears after graduation, and create this account. And then they can request transcripts from one school to be sent to another. This is a lifetime account. And oftentimes their students just think of sending their high school transcripts when they're applying to colleges. But if they transfer to colleges, they need it as well. Or if they're going to advanced degrees, they will need it as well. So if they're dual enrolled, they will have to send ACC's transcript to the college or university they go to later, as well as the Alpena High transcript. Parchment does that all, usually free of charge. Okay, so make sure they set up their account. Next. In December, we have another parent information form about choosing a college and paying for a college. So in that information form, we talk about things to look at when your children are selecting which college to go to. It's not always cost, it's not always location, as well as some information about paying for college and applying for scholarships and where to find them, things like that. Okay, so this is a great information meeting for you and your children to attend. On the Alpena High website, when you go to alpenaschools.com and then go to Alpena High School, there's all kinds of information on there. One of those is scholarship info. If they click on the tab that says scholarship info, we have a link on there which is a living document of scholarships that we are aware of, that we have checked to make sure they're legit. Okay? Various staff members work on that. It's set up in a calendar format by the due date of the scholarship application. Many students think they can apply for scholarships whenever they want. That's not true. There's an open window of when that application is there. And this link that the arrow is pointing to tells them when it's due. They open usually about a month before that so they can get ready for the scholarships. Encourage them, apply for every scholarship they're eligible for, because they're not going to get all of them they apply for. Okay, so apply to everything. Next. On December 7th is another parent information form for NCAA. NCAA, the National Collegiate Athletic Association, is the most common athletic association at the college level. If your child is going to a Division I or a Division II college or university, and they plan on participating in competitive sports, they probably have to register with NCAA. Some schools don't use NCAA, they use NAIA, but NCAA is the more common one. I'm the person that's the local overseer of NCAA. If your child is thinking about going on to play competitive college sports, please ask them to make an appointment to see me. I'll review their transcript and make sure we have everything in there to get NCAA approval. If they're missing something, we'll get it in for second semester. Okay? So, and I have an information meeting about that in December. Mrs. Vogt mentioned the senior meeting. Mr. Bajaj mentioned the senior meeting. We find the senior meeting pretty important. We could do a group meeting, but each student's needs are different, so we like to meet with them all individually and talk about their what's next. What are they doing with life after high school? Are they going into the workforce? Are they going into the military? Are they attending some sort of a college or university? We look at some of their career plans, college ideas, help them find the colleges or the scholarships that they need. So we usually spend a half hour, 45 minutes with each student talking about all the senior questions they might have about what's next. They have been looking forward to their senior year forever, right? All they want to do is graduate until they get partway through this year, and then they start putting the skids on, going, whoa, wait a minute. I've known school forever, now what? We'll help them through that. Just like you're having some anxiety and worry about what's next after they graduate. They are too, even though they act like they're not. Okay? And especially for the moms in here, you'll start crying around homecoming and you'll stop crying after they move out. Okay, just that's just my personal experience.
How do we as a parent know when they schedule this meeting with you?
Ask them. Yeah, because we are bound by confidentiality, and so if you call and say, "Did my child schedule that meeting yet?" we can tell you yes or no, but we're probably not going to tell you what we talked about because we can't. Some of the general stuff. So ask them, call us, send us an email. If we give them a couple of weeks to make the appointment on their own, starting now, like this is their notice, you need to make that appointment. In Sunday's weekly update that you receive this coming Sunday, there's a note in there from us, seniors, make sure you make this appointment. So, long about October 1, those students that haven't made an appointment, we'll start sending more emails and tracking them down. If you're here, they're probably going to make the appointment. But we have some that we try to track down, and unfortunately we don't ever have that one-on-one appointment. And then they come to us in May saying, "How do I apply to college?" Yeah, most of them are full, but okay, here we go. Next slide. So, some of the links and things that we've been talking about. If you go back to, if you think of Alpena High School's website, that bar across the top, the green bar, it periodically changes, but there is always one of the tabs up there called Counseling Corner. Okay? That's a valuable spot. That's where you can find all kinds of information about us. When you go to Counseling Corner, there is, in bright red, the counselor appointment form. That's how they make that appointment with me. So when you go home tonight, have them get out their Chromebook and go to this site and schedule the appointment. That's one way to find out they did it. Sit with them to schedule it. They click on that form and they can select which counselor they're seeing, what time of day is best for them to meet, because some of them can miss some classes better than they can miss other classes. They can make that appointment with us. And then our administrative assistant, Ms. Sale, will send them a Google invite for the time that their appointment is actually scheduled for. Okay? Also, the transcript request is right there for that Parchment account. They can create their account right there or request them. Next slide. Also on that page is the green bar that says Key Forms. If they click to expand it, we have all kinds of things that students might be needing. That letter of recommendation form is up there. Volunteer timesheets, if they're wanting volunteer hours to count as credit, those are in there. Chill-out pass requests, the code of conduct, how to do job shadowing. There is oodles of different forms and information in there so that they can get it if they need to without an appointment, or they can always schedule an appointment to talk to us about whatever. We talk about all kinds of stuff. Okay? And I'm going to turn it back over to Mr. B.
Thank you guys, I really appreciate it. Like I said, our counselors are vital to your students' opportunity to just have a great senior year. It's one, like I said, we want them to access them, we want them to engage with them, and we want you guys to do as well. So please remember, your phone call, email away, and their time is your time, and it's so super important for them. This meeting right here is one that's huge for our students. In that they are looking at their Jostens. This is your cap and gown information. This is senior stuff like gear that they can get through Jostens as well. But the biggest thing is our cap and gown. For students who have difficulty with cap and gowns, they need to just come speak to their counselor, speak to Mrs. Hoggard, myself, and we can work through those details. In my announcements this week, I have, we had a couple people in the community offer for those that are struggling with senior pictures, which are due on November 23rd, to reach out to myself, Mrs. H, or the counselors, and we have people in the community that volunteer to do senior pictures, which is pretty cool. We know we've taken advantage of a couple already, and we appreciate those people that volunteered that skill that they have to assess. But this meeting is one in which we do during advisory. It's hard for some of our students to attend. So again, I make sure that we get all that information online for you guys. We will make sure that the PowerPoints they use, the information is all up to date so you guys can see it. You'll see it in weeklies, you'll see it on PowerPoints, you'll see it on Facebook, because many of them are either online, they may be in college, and we encourage them to say, be at that meeting. And we can't tell them, they need to talk to their college instructors and try to be there for that hour to really hear what Mark has from Jostens and to get that material. Again, the deadlines are really, really important, and if anyone's struggling, please let us know. But that senior meeting is really done by Mark at Jostens, and it's pretty riveting in that he talks about some of those big elements, some of those important things as they're progressing through the year as a senior, and it's kind of like the reality hits, and we're going, cap and gowns are coming, so it's pretty exciting. Next up, you're going to see the senior planning team is another opportunity for your students to join a leadership group here at the high school. This team turns in applications on September 23rd. They're in the main office, and these students help shape what graduation in the senior year looks like. I started years ago under Mr. Poley, and it was an opportunity to give students a chance to be part of what does graduation look like. It stemmed from days when we know that graduation is a ceremonial event. Last year we had a beautiful day at the stadium again. It was an outdoor graduation. We were able to use video and audio, which really helped because the echo in the stadium, and parents and kids were able to see it. It turned out awesome. And it's ceremonial. We try to show the students that this is an opportunity once a lifetime to identify that student walking across the stage, and they get that moment. And so this team of students works tirelessly from that when we start shaping many of the events along with our leadership team here at the high school to make it a great opportunity for our students. They help with the school songs, school colors, all those pieces that are paramount to our seniors as they graduate. As we roll into Senior Celebration Day, they're pivotal in helping shape some of those events and activities that we do. So if your son or daughter is one that sits back, this might be an opportunity to say, here's your opportunity to really jump in and do it. It doesn't just have to be our vivacious students that want to do everything. It can be that student that sits back and says, I want to be part of this opportunity to be part of change and something really, really positive. Mrs. Hoggard and myself run that team, and I got to tell you, it's some of those after-school meetings when we're trying to figure out what's the song going to be, what are those colors going to be. The students are excited. They help pick the teacher that speaks at graduation, and they help push the students that want to be speakers at commencements. And those are opportunities that you only get to do once in a lifetime. So take that chance, riveting moment for them to be part of something bigger and better. You can see that Kaput is another opportunity for our students. I know you've heard about it year after year after year. As you leave, I have my Kaput sign-in sheets. Please fill it out, turn it in, call me, email Mrs. Hoggard, Stephanie Conchure's information. She's my lead on this. Her name's on there, email her. This is an opportunity for us to help our students. The Alpena Youth and Rec, which went through again this year, supports all of our activities we do for students. So I talked to the superintendent today, and we're going to do a kickoff to homecoming. That's done by our leadership crew, but it's one of those first events that's going to be new for them. We had a couple of new things last year. We had an outdoor homecoming. Thank God the weather cooperated. We had a senior sunrise that failed because it was foggy and there was no sunrise. So we had to move it to the spring, and we found that senior sunrise. I might have had him there a little early. I thought 5:30, I'm a fisherman, you think I would know the sunrise, the location of the sunrise. We were just a little bit early. like maybe an hour and a half. Just it was comical, but we had fun. Everybody was there. A huge group. It was a good time. Some bailed on us and said, "Bernard, you really should have looked." I said, "That's not what it said." And so it was pretty cool, but those were a couple events. So what I'd like the senior planning team to do, along with Kaput, is find some of those cool things that they can do different. What is a new thing they want to do this year? And so coming up with a captivating kickoff to homecoming, Spirit Week, and just really the thrill around the school is very, very cool. For those of you that haven't had it yet, you'll see like the activity nights and the freshman bash are more geared towards some of those the underclassmen, but the other ones, the after prom party, the senior celebration, are geared towards your kids. And I'll tell you, we did the bowling alley this year. It was phenomenal. Those kids had a ball. I mean, and the food, I mean, these kids can eat, but I think we overplanned on the food a little bit. I mean, it's a chocolate feast of everything, but chocolate seems to be the key. And then our senior celebration, which used to be our lock-in, was changed because the kids said they just die at 3 in the morning. I mean, we used to go to 3 in the morning, and then, or so 6 in the morning, and by the time we got there, those kids were exhausted. So we said, what if we move to 3 or 2 or 1 and try to get it where those students are excited? And we moved it to, I'm trying to think what time we did it to last year. I want to say it was, Jess, what was it? It was 2. It was 3 o'clock, and it was still a little bit too long. So we're going to talk to the senior planning team and try to come up with a time that works, because then guess what? You know they're coming home. That was my big gig. At 6 in the morning, we had a hard time keeping track of them. All of a sudden I had 150 kids, and I had started with like 300. Well, where did these kids go? And the parents are saying, they didn't come home. And so this way, if you know they're coming home at 3, they're coming home at 3. If they're coming home at 2, they're coming home at 2. And we know they're there. And they really do get tired. So last year was another good opportunity for us. And we want to try some new things this year. Kaput generates all that. Your dollars at Alpena Youth and Rec supply this, and it is outstanding for the kids. It's been going on for years, and I hope it never goes away, because it never gets old. Those students, we just hope the weather cooperates. And we try to do some new things this year that are going to be fun. As you can see, let's leave photos through a couple of the pictures. The big thing is our senior picture. You can see the outdoor graduation. That was our fumbled senior sunrise in the top right. One, it was coming up over the school, so the picture wasn't going to really be good. That was my directional sunrise. I was excited about it. We were going to skate to the other side, but the rain and clouds didn't captivate it. You saw the fire back there. That was the biggest bonfire we've ever had in school history. We're going to try to top that at the football stadium in a couple Fridays. We thanked everybody in the pool. We didn't realize the smoke would hinder some of the intake there, but we solved that problem for the next bonfire. As you can see, that senior sunrise in the top left, the parents from Kaput and some of the senior parents just said, let's do some breakfast for the kids. So we had a couple parents come in with griddles and everything else. It was just super cool. The kids came out and they just had a great time. It was a great time for them to come together and do something new. We had the tents, so I thought, why not use them? We'll have that in the morning. If it rains, it'll be okay. And it worked out really, really well. Again, the pep assembly, the seniors wanted, realistically, this junior class this year, your kids that are now seniors, I worked with a handful of them over the summer, and they said, Bernard, we're already buying stuff for homecoming. The juniors will not even come close. The sophomores don't stand a chance. And the freshmen, they're really clueless. They really are. Those poor kids, they come in, it's the largest group, could be the loudest, and they don't have a clue what's going on that first year. But our seniors this year, they said, you are going to be shocked. Their senior lounge, they're doing things that are cool. I'll tell you, that first week pass, I just shiver right now, because this is just an opportunity for me to really just engage with kids, and it's fun. It's fun in the hallways. I share with a handful of parents coming in. I just appreciate your sons and daughters. They talk to us like they're passing the day. The kids come through, good morning, how you doing? How was your weekend? It's every day, it's just awesome. And this is another opportunity for us to engage with kids at a different level. And you can see our murals are second to none. We have our climate teams doing murals monthly in our large commons this year, really making the school beautiful. But if you come through during homecoming and look at our murals on this wall, if they weren't so difficult to get off for our leadership team, which it's difficult if they stay on too long, I would like to leave them up till the next Winterfest, because they're so beautiful. They really are. The kids do such an outstanding job. Our talent is extraordinary. As you can see, they took my clothes and they made a mannequin, and it was quite funny. tried to get my clothes back. It was difficult. They were going to steal them, and I said, that's my Ranger gear. You can't steal my boat gear. And then you can see our athletics last year. We had some great opportunities for kids to excel. Not just in athletics, but clubs and opportunities. Our robotics team, Science Olympiad. We've got a film club that's new this year. I've got people that want to get masters going again. I mean, we're coming out of this COVID. We want kids to be engaged and excited. Anybody who's engaged in school is going to be more connected in any way. So if your son or daughter has not done that this year or in past years, push them to do that. Being engaged is important, and it's important for life after high school. And again, just a couple more. We tried a beautification of campus. It's kind of crazy because we beautify it for the pictures. However, now we're at the stadium. So we get the pictures at the stadium, but we still want the campus to look beautiful. We do have people that come back and get pictures here. They do an extraordinary job. Our maintenance and custodial staff here, second to none. And our grounds look gorgeous year-round. And especially at graduation, we want it to be a symbol of just some beauty. We're looking at trying to do some things that would be cool for kids this year, different than they've done in the past. But this is one that I never want to go away because they get to do one last thing, one last piece. And how can they give back to the community, especially the way that helped them, is by doing those few things. Next up is our upcoming senior events. So keeping an eye on the calendar, watching these pieces. I'm going to post this too, so snap your pictures because God knows that it's the easiest way to look for these things. But these dates are solid, and these are important events. So as you're looking through, as Mary talked about college night, even though many of your sons and daughters have already looked at universities or colleges or opportunities with the armed forces, this is a great night still, again, to show up and have that discussion about what you want to do. I see multiple students in this crowd right now that are my former students as a counselor and as a student, and it's pretty exciting to see the different variety of people and everybody coming back and doing positive things. So that's a great opportunity to have good dialogue with your son or daughter. Really good opportunities to explore, what do you want to do beyond high school? What do you want to do as a second career? Most of our students today are going to do multiple careers. I look at my career, and I was a teacher, I was a counselor, I've been a principal at 3 or 4 different levels, different areas. So really I've got like 5 different careers. Kids today, that is not going to be an option. They're going to have multiple different careers in different areas. So it's exciting to really explore those conversations at dinner, at home, in the car, wherever you can. Wherever you can captivate that time with your student, do it. Because when they're gone, they're gone. Next up is like the FAFSA lab nights. These are great opportunities. If you haven't filled out the FAFSA, it's daunting in your brain. It really is not that hard to fill out, but it's still, there's pieces that just catch people. And like I did it for years, and when I had to do it myself, I was like, my God, I forgot how to do this. What do I have to answer? So don't be afraid to take an opportunity to bring in your equipment, do this. It's a lot easier than it looks. It's just a daunting form and daunting process, but it's made easy at some of these nights. So if you're stressed about it, please don't be. Just meet the deadlines. That's the most important thing. Again, we have Johnston. Those that are thinking about military ASVABs coming up. We have senior pictures due. This is huge. Kate O'Neill's our new yearbook advisor. And so you've seen she's put pieces in my weekly. I'm going to give her access and let her start doing that herself now that a couple weeks have passed. And we want to make sure you look at deadlines. She said, are you sticking with deadlines? How many times do we talk about deadlines are in the sand? We set this line in the sand because we go like this. She said, if I say a deadline's a deadline, is it a deadline? I said, okay, there's no sand here. It's a deadline. Because we run into problems every year with the yearbook. And it's horrible to tell a parent, I can't put you in because you missed a deadline. We've got to follow the deadlines because that's where publication errors happen. And so we had that happen last year, and it wasn't no fault to Mr. Thatcher or his crew. It's just the difficulty of coming out of COVID, all the different opportunities, and all these deadlines are important. So please, please make sure you're really watching, and she's going to do everything in her power to make sure that we meet your needs and do the deadline. Yes, ma'am?
Are we going to get the yearbooks before we graduate this year?
Well, Jolie, we were hoping to, but the problem is the publication piece. And I can't answer that right now because she is working with Mark. He'll be here with Johnston's. And the week after that, they come in and they're going to work on the publication. It's a publication piece, not an art piece. And so I would love to because I know that I look back at my yearbook and I've got those signatures. And it's hard to get when everybody's gone. So I think a year out from where we were, I think we're going to be in a better place. But I can't answer that with 100% certainty, okay? So just a little bit of grace, but she's going to work on that. The next piece, like I said, with NCAA, those of you that have not done, or you have any student athletes that are thinking of moving on, if you have not done NCAA, it's not the end of the world, but you really need to move fast on that, like Mrs. Dell said. It's a process that really starts in the junior year, but can start again in the senior year. But most of you that are doing it have already started that process. Choosing and paying for a college, again, those PIFs are just great things to come to, even if it's your second one coming through. It never hurts to see this information. Baby pictures, senior quotes. Again, due on the 19th. Please meet the timelines. That's going to be the big thing. They're in there. Those are some of the big ones that fall off the grid, but they'll be in my weekly every week, and I know you guys enthusiastically wait for that on Sunday. It's something I really enjoy doing Sunday morning. It happens that way sometimes. But we have to because things are changing constantly. But it really is something that parents look to for a little bit of guidance. So we'll make sure that she has those pieces in there because that's important to you guys. Senior salutes, again, it's a deadline issue because they have to get it to the publisher to be able to change all those formats and all those other pieces. And again, then we'll have FAFSA lab night. And rolling through to the next one, the just and delivery date will come after we know exactly when they're coming out. You'll see it Facebook, everywhere else. Prom, get those dates in there for prom. It was beautiful last year. The weather was fantastic. Again, we try not to connect this to athletic events, but it does happen. But these dates right here are set. Baccalaureate was beautiful last year. We hadn't done it in a couple of years, so it was perfect. The senior athletic banquet, it's always a great opportunity. Try not to miss that too. These are great things that you do one time and it's done. And just to celebrate some of those experiences. The virtual senior honors night has been a really a good piece for our parents, and as busy it is in May, we said, are we going to stick with the virtual? Parents are saying, please keep it virtual. Because it is huge in here, but it's always a hard time for parents to make. And so they have said year after year that the virtual is something they want us to stick with, and the kids say the same thing. So it's a long evening otherwise for all the students that are here, and typically very difficult for a lot to make because of athletics. And then of course you're going to see June 4th graduation. Senior celebration on the next slide is going to be the 26th. You'll see the date change, the date. They will leave that Friday and then graduate the next Sunday. And again, that gives us some time for our online students and for students that need to catch up on pieces. And this helps you look at how do you plan. And so we hope that looking forward, this is an opportunity. We tell students on the 26th, take the day off. Don't plan on working on Saturday. This is an opportunity for them to just enjoy it. Be a student, it's exciting. They're with their friends for the last time. It's really cool here. And again, with Kaput, volunteer. Your kids are going to tell you, don't volunteer, don't come. My daughter said it all the time. They won't even see you. But just watching some of the excitement these students go through, see what you can do to be part of that excitement. I know that many of you were there last year helping as we were decorating tents, as we were decorating for Kaput and the senior celebration. It was exciting. So be part of it, engage in it, and even when they tell you not to be there, they really don't want you there, but you want to be there. And that's kind of cool to see just a small snippet of it. So take advantage of it if you can. Try to navigate it. And then graduation, of course, the plan is for outside, which means that the rain date for that will be announced. And typically it is the next day, and we haven't had to have a rain date yet. So we're hoping for good weather. And plan for the same thing. It's beautiful outside, it's a great opportunity, and it gives our students a chance to be on stage by themselves. In the gym, it's very, very compact. How many of you remember the gym graduations? And it's usually 1,000 degrees, about 4 seats up. So you try to drink as much water, and you hope you don't have to use the restroom. So anyhow, the biggest thing is that's an opportunity for you to look at some dates. Again, there's only 270 days to graduation. It is kind of crazy when I think of that. But go to the next slide, Lee. So senior pictures. Again, we've had 3 people in the community offer to help with senior pictures. Please, if you need that, do not be afraid to ask us. It's just such a treasure for the people in our community to offer that. I'm humbled by it. And then keeping informed. This is staying connected. Again, watch. I know the robocalls, the robo emails, robo texts. You know, I called Lee last night and I said, Lee, is it okay for me to send a robocall? Because I try not to do many because he has to do more, so he knows. We try not to bombard you guys. I get the calls too, but it's that one piece that we want to stay connected. We want you guys to have that communication, and we just ask you to please be graceful with that, because it is a way for us to make sure that you guys have that information. Some quick links I put on here for you too from the counselors, and these are active links, so you'll be able to do it when you see the slide. I'll have it on the website and on Facebook, so you can pull those up. Again, they're just good slides to jump into, to look at. You do Google searches and find tons of stuff. Remember one thing, if you have to pay for a scholarship, it is not what you want to do. Those are the scams, those are the pieces. Any scholarship that you do that you have to pay money for is not a scholarship you're going to do. So be careful of that. You'll see recruiting people will call, say for $125, my mom did that. I'm thinking, they took advantage of her. Because my parents were much older. And I said, you know, they didn't know. They thought, oh, we'll help little Romeo out and get him some scholarships. It was a scam. And to this day, I get angry every time I hear that and see these scam artists that reach out. So again, any scholarship that costs money is not a good scholarship. Lee reminded me too that our college advisor will be reaching out to you likely in October. It's college application month, and many of the colleges waive those applications. And when you start seeing the $25 to death, and the $35 and the $45, and your kid wants to do 5 applications, and you got $400 sitting there. And this is a great opportunity to take advantage of those free applications. So we'll likely be posting that. We have to wait till the college advisor. Lee actually just gave it to her. We put it on right before we came in here. And so she'll be reaching out. I'll make sure that she gets to you on that. More than likely that will still exist. We just have to wait for her to set all that up. And college visits and all those other pieces. So again, it's just a great opportunity. And again, 270 days. I know it seems crazy. I can't even believe it's September already. So, questions? Yes, sir?
How does early college impact all of this?
Early college in the 12th grade year, they will walk at commencements. They do everything. The only thing they don't get is they don't complete the senior survey, which is a piece they have to do, and they do not receive a diploma. So they'll get their diploma after they do the 13th year. But they celebrate all these, they're a senior. They're a senior for all, being the senior planning team. We want them here. Many of your students don't want to be here now, but they only have 2 classes here, and they're all over the place. Guess where they want to be? They want to be in the building. And it's pretty cool because they just want to hang out with their friends. And so those are an opportunity for those students to do that. Good question. More questions?
Follow
Go ahead, follow.
up with the senior meeting, not the senior meeting with the counselor, the other one.
The Johnston's, correct.
What are students to do if their ACC class? What's with that?
I say talk to their instructor and let them know they have a Johnston's meeting. Probably 112 kids to 120 kids will tell their profs that. And they're going to say, okay. Because they really need to be at that meeting. But again, college and attendance is a personal choice. So if they're in a situation, they can come in and meet with me, and I will go through things with them independently as well. And I get everything from Mark, and I go through it. And so if they can't miss for some reason, we can catch them up, I promise.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Yes?
Do early college students fill out FAFSA and apply for college or any, college applications or scholarships this year or next year?
Excellent. So the question is, do early college students fill out the applications? I'm going to let Lori answer that so I don't screw it up.
Okay, I always tell the early college kids they get senior year with all the fun and less of the stress because they don't have to apply for scholarships, they don't have to do the FAFSA, but I still like to do the senior meeting with them because in the 5th year they kind of disappear oftentimes and we never see them again. So it's a good time to just kind of go over all this information because in the next year they will be applying for FAFSA, they will be applying for scholarships. But if their intention is to stay with early college, which most of them are, they're not going to need the money for it the following year. And you always apply in the previous year before you'll need it. But still, we like to do the senior visit for those kids. Anything else, rest of the counselors?
So for early college kids, you want to look at when the money has to be spent by. A lot of times there are scholarships like an Elks Club where you write an essay, you put the money, you get a check, you put the money in the bank, you can use it whenever you want to. Some scholarships will have an expiration date. If the expiration date is before their graduation date of the 13th year, then it doesn't help you to apply for that scholarship. So look for a lot of your local scholarships you can apply for them whenever, 12th grade, 13th year, and get that money in the bank, save it for college. So just look and see when the money has to be spent by.
Yeah, and they oftentimes, sometimes those organizations will hold that money for you and hold it till that next year when you show that you present your diploma, you then get that money transferred over too. So it's kind of like our top 10 money is that money that the Besser Foundation does is a cash. It's not necessarily a scholarship. They use that, they get the check, and they can use it for computers, and they can use it for books, and they can use it for those pieces. That's one of those simple ones that is different than most other scholarships. More questions? I'm less nervous now. This is a great turnout, guys. I'm really excited for you guys. Like I said, the biggest thing is enjoy this time. It just flies. For those of you that have children that are younger, for those of us that have only children, for those that have first time through, it's a new experience no matter what you do. So just enjoy it, and when the stress is there and you're feeling it, don't be afraid to reach out to these guys. Call me, call Jesse, call Mike Buckinger, he's our other principal too. Anybody, call a teacher. You know, Christy Schultz is here right now. She's a senior mom this year too. So, you know, when you're feeling stressed, reach out to those people that you can connect with. And don't be afraid to ask questions. There's no bad questions, okay? So we want to make sure that you guys travel this journey in a way that's really exciting for you. You know, I just can't say that graduation is one of those capstones that ever since I was a first-year teacher, I've never missed one. Well, I did miss one. It was exciting. It's exciting seeing the students, talking to them afterwards, and just really getting to see that success that you might have helped with a little bit, or been a great person in their life and connected. Okay? Any questions? So with no further ado, kept it to an hour, almost on the dime. So I appreciate you guys and thank you for being here. And again, don't be afraid to reach out to us. We're here for you. That's our job.